Hey YouTube, welcome back to another History Teacher Reacts video with Mr. Terry. Today we are going to jump back into Sam O'Nella Academy, everyone's favorite comedic historian, we'll call him that, with another video, and this one is Obscure, Obsolete Inventions. So this should be neat. I love the history of inventions and machines and stuff like that that were, you know, so ahead of their time, and I'm sure with him we're going to see some weird stuff, because that's kind of what he does there. So, all right, before we get started, the original video, Sam's video, is down below. Make sure that you click that link, give them the view, subscribe, like, and all that stuff. And if you haven't subbed here and enabled notifications, I invite you to do that too. All right, with that, let's go ahead and start.
Alright, after months upon months of unrelenting pressure by you psychopaths pretending to be my characters on Twitter, I finally got a merch store. Let this be a lesson, kids. With enough harassment, you can achieve anything. Anyway, go check it out, or don't, whatever.
We got some new tiers that give out merch too in Patreon. Link down below.
Hey kids, if I learned anything from my middle school career, it's that what may seem like a good idea initially will often be remembered only as a foolish mistake. Here's a few pieces of technology from yesteryear that have since fallen into total obscurity. So I've always believed that there's no point in having many small things when you can have one big thing. Why have many shrimp when you can have one lobster? Why drink many glasses of milk when you can eat one udder? Why have many cheese-its when you can have one cheese-them? Patent pending. And why have many street lights when you can have one moonlight tower? These guys were real popular back in the 1880s and 90s, often standing at over 150 feet tall and illuminating several blocks from a single point. Not very well, mind you. Matter of fact, they were so dim, we didn't even have the conscience to just call them light towers. Had to go and stick the moon on the front so people didn't get their hopes up. But thanks to our good...
Well, that's interesting, because if you wonder about how long it would have taken to light up cities, right? Some of the first cities that started to get in-house lighting and stuff like that, when they started replacing gas and oil lamps with electricity, was somewhere like New York City. And think how challenging that would be to try to install that much lighting. So it kind of makes an interesting sense where it's like, hey, we're going to try to have one big light that might be easier for the infrastructure than having to wire, you know, a whole ton of street lights.
Good old friend, the inverse square law. You still needed a fuck ton of light to pull this off, so they used incredibly harsh and UV emitting arc lights instead of incandescent bulbs. All the light of the moon and all the vision damage of the sun, talk about a win-win. Sadly, these beasts have fallen by the wayside over the past century or so, except for in Austin apparently, but they use friendlier mercury vapor lamps in them, so they only get half points.
We can look, I mean, look how, like, I mean, you can't always tell from a photograph, but yeah, like, that's not going to work real well. It's kind of an eyesore for your neighborhood if you're one of these people underneath. But let's see, do they also have street lamps? Not really. You see some light down here. You can't tell where that's coming from, if that's the lamps. But yeah, that seems, yeah, very inefficient.
In Austin, apparently, but they use friendlier mercury vapor lamps in them, so they only get half points. Now, anyone who's been around a baby long enough knows they always have a cloud of ghoulish stench hovering around them. Jeez Louise, somebody better air out that musty little muskrat before Grandma starts drooping again. You could stick him on the clothesline for a while, but knowing that little moron, I'm sure he'd find a way to hurt himself somehow. Introducing the baby cage. Finally, city dwellers all across the nation have a way of unleashing their postnatal funk on the unsuspecting passerby below.
There was this idea, especially around the turn of the 20th century, where it's like, if you were kind of an urban dweller, which was really common, you know, during kind of the Industrial Revolution era, when people were moving into cities because that's where the job growth was. You know, a lot of people, you know, kind of missed the idea of getting sunlight, and it was this idea that like kids needed them. So yeah, they put these like cribs basically and bolted them outside their window so baby could get some nice healthy sunshine and vitamin D, which, yeah, I don't know how many accidents there were, but still, gosh. But anyways, that's a total interesting thing of product of urbanization, where these people were trying to like bring in, you know, some of the outdoorsiness that they missed before they moved into cities.
These were in vogue for a while before falling out of style a bit of the way into the 20th century, because apparently society started deeming babies more valuable than air conditioners. I don't really get it personally, but this is also around the time we started putting lead in gasoline, so it's probably for the best we kept them inside all day. Matter of fact, it's my firm belief that without kids growing up breathing lead, there's no way pet rocks would have taken off in the 70s. Wow, alienating baby boomers. He's so brave and controversial. Now, in the days between the Great War and the not...
One of the things people jab at, like, you know, the baby boomer generation for telling the current generation, man, you guys are into stupid things like Tide Pods and fidget spinners and all these things. And people are like, wait, wasn't the pet rock a phenomenon in your generation?
It's great, but still pretty alright war. People were trying to find efficient means of detecting an incoming air attack. They climbed their nation's tallest mountains to seek the wisdom of their greatest elders. And the wise men said, big ears. So that's what they did. These giant discs were known as acoustic mirrors and were designed to focus incoming sound over a 5-meter diameter into a single point.
Oh, wow.
They were reasonably effective as listening devices. A few of them in Britain were able to pick up the sound of a plane from all the way across the English Channel. Of course, radar came along soon after, rendering these things completely useless beyond looking brutalist as hell. For real, instant album cover material, right?
I would never, if I was going to like a World War II site and I had seen these things there, I would have no idea what they were and what they were for. I'd be like, man, it looks like a satellite dish, but obviously it's just made out of stone. It was way before that, but that's kind of an ingenious thing. I mean, obviously they worked, right? They thought they worked, and I guess it kind of, you know how things amplify if you're in a canyon or something like that. You kind of got the echo in a way that kind of does that. So that's actually a pretty cool thing. Yeah, it's obsolete now, but it's a pretty good idea.
Right here. Ah! One of the Pep Boys is pulling a Spanish Inquisition on this poor wayward harlot. Huh, just kidding. Despite the fact that this looks so very much like a state-of-the-art instrument of torture, it's actually just a beauty micrometer. Think those shoe size measurer things at Foot Locker, only instead of one primitive measurement, it records the entire topology of your face and skull at once. With this data, a trained cosmetologist would be able to pinpoint exactly what features of your head should be enhanced and reduced with makeup in order to achieve a maximum calculated attractiveness after you've paid for their services.
So yeah, there's a lot of people would try to like attribute beauty to like a mathematical formula almost. It's like, hey, your face has to be like these proportions and everything's got to be symmetrical and all that side of thing. So it's like this mathematical standard of beauty.
Clearly this device must have been effective. After all, beauty is entirely objective. What, eye of the beholder? Check the name tag, buddy. Apparently, though, women didn't like being strapped into a birdcage and having their every minute flaw meticulously laid out in front of them, so this thing never really took off in the end. Next, we have the Humlauf. This was a device made during World War II designed to let infantry shoot around corners. It's like the Germans sat down and watched that part in Tom and Jerry where the conniving rat bends the gun barrel back at his adversary. They said, Mein Gott. They came in a variety of angles between 30 and 90 degrees, and even came with a little periscope so you could see what you were shooting at.
But it would be so incredibly inaccurate regardless of if the bullets could actually travel like that, because you can't sight. I mean, if you ever shot a gun before, it's way harder than anybody realizes that. It's probably never shot one, let alone having something like that, even with like some mirror or something. That's there's no way that was even useful.
But as we all come to find out when we reach adolescence, cartoons are the arbiters of deceit, because these things would invariably break within the first couple hundred shots or so. And even when they did work, the rounds would fucking explode from the massive acceleration, turning a deadly bullet into an ineffectual spray of shrapnel. These were so ineffective that only the 30-degree model ever saw significant production beyond prototypes, and even that was very limited. Say, you ever look at regular mousetraps and go, not enough property damage? Well, check this out. Patented in 1882, it's the Revolver Mousetrap, brought to you by the makers of the Snail Trebuchet and the Cockroach Claymore.
Snail Trebuchet and the Cockroach Claymore. I'm playing Age of Empires. Just imagine launching snails there. Wait, go back to this thing. Oh my gosh, it seems like an inefficient thing that you would just use that. Okay, I'm interested to see if this really is a gun aimed at a mouse.
Thanks to the marvels of the modern era, all those tiresome hours of intense varmint slang can be outsourced to one little gadget on the floor of your kid's playroom. Now when you hear a gunshot in the middle of the night, you can rest easy knowing that, one way or the other, there's one less pest for you to deal with in the morning. Boom. 1850. Steam locomotives are all the rage. You're in the transport business, but all you can afford is a couple dumb horses. Sure, they move things from point A to point B almost as well at a fraction of the cost, but your cool rail-riding friends called you a whack-ass and it really hurt your feelers. Well, if we got the invention for you. The Impulsoria uses an ingenious system of treadmills to turn that horse to be beckoned into a force to be reckoned with. Sure, it's expensive as hell to make and limits your services entirely to railroads, but just look at it. Instant Pussymobile.
But what's the point? Just to make so it's cheaper than a like a steam engine, like a train engine that way. Oh, it seems like just use wagons.
Have some rims and a spoiler on that, you're laughing. This machine is recorded at having a maximum output of 2 to 4 horsepower, which sounds about right, and it didn't see much use outside a couple exhibitions. Now, if there's one hobby that people in the past enjoyed, it's smoking. Whoo boy, did they like smoking. And with every great wholesome activity comes a million novelty items to go along with.
See the kids in the bottom center there. This is that era where kids grew up pretty quick, you know, with some of the child labor and stuff like that. It's like we got some newsies, right, selling newspapers. So during the Industrial Revolution era, we know that child labor was a huge thing. And yeah, being on the streets was that, which you're going to pick up some bad habits like smoking and all that stuff. So
with it. Everyone's seen the long cigarette, but how about the really long cigarette? Want to smoke in the rain? Here you go. Going snorkeling? Hey, you know what's more important than oxygen? Nicotine. But hey, want to know the only thing better than a cigarette? 2 cigarettes. You know what? Fuck it. Have the whole pack.
Oh my gosh.
Of course, if you're trying to cut back, you can always share it with a friend. Aw,
what?
How heartburning. But you know what's even more fun than addiction? High-quality documentaries. That's why you should check out Curiosity Stream. From the face behind the Discovery Channel, Curiosity Stream lets you stuff your little meatuses full of all the bizarre knowledge the world has to offer. And with over 2,400 titles, there's no way there isn't something that interests you here. Remember Secret Life of Pets? Trash movie. Turgid prose, stilted dialogue, pandering humor, and above all, highly unrealistic. On the other hand, The Secret Life of Dogs is an absolute treasure. Did you know they turn their tongues into weird inside-out ladles when they drink? Just one of the many fun facts found inside. Normally, full access to Curiosity Stream only costs $2.99 a month or $20 a year, which is nothing. That's like a McDonald's run every 4 months. But if you still have your doubts, you can get 30 days free if you sign up at curiositystream.com/salmonella and use promo code salmonella during the sign up process. Anyway, that's all for today. Till next time, I'm Salmonella, and check out this JPEG.
Wait, what?
Anyway, that's all for today. Till next time, I'm Salmonella, and check out this JPEG.
You ain't from Delaware if you've never had this. No. Can we get any Delawareans to confirm this? Eating cereal out of a pickle? Specifically Lucky Charms out of a giant pickle? No, it can't happen, right? Please tell me that's not a thing. Who knows, though, right? All right, well, that was pretty cool. Yeah, the only one I had heard of was the outside baby playpen thing. Again, for the reasons I was saying earlier. So, but yeah, the other stuff you could see why it kind of became obsolete. Some of them are kind of ingenious. I liked the giant ear thing that they were using in the war to be able to hear, you know, from further distances. That actually kind of had a practical use. The other stuff, not so much a practical use, and almost looks like it wasn't even necessarily like meant to be that way. It was more just like, hey, there's a neat idea, or you know, just a little prototype or something. But those were good stuff there. And you can tell, yeah, a lot of that stuff was kind of industrial era things when people were really trying new things, and you got this explosion of inventions and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. Well, good job, Sam, finding more of that obscure stuff on the internet that we love learning about. I love it. All right, awesome stuff. Okay, on the way out, original video is down below. Just launched recently some new tiers to Patreon if you're interested. Got some new projects coming up for this upcoming summer for 2020, and to help out with that, we got some new tiers. One of them includes some of the new Patreon tiers where you can at certain levels get things like stickers, a mug. If you want the shirts, this design, the Aztec design, there's one for that, as well as a hoodie if you want to support the channel that way. Thanks to those that have been doing that, though. It's really helping me with the future projects that we got going on. All right. With that, then, yeah, links to other stuff down below. Be sure to join our Discord community and check out for anything else down there. All right, and with that, we'll go ahead and call it here, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.